Listen closely. What I'm about to reveal might challenge everything you thought you knew. This is no coincidence. You were led here for a reason. God has a message for you today, one that could shift your spiritual life in ways you never imagined. You fast, but nothing changes. You pray, but heaven seems silent. You cry out, but God feels distant. Have you ever wondered why? Maybe, just maybe, you've been fasting the wrong way. Most churches don't teach this, but today, you're going to uncover 3 biblical secrets about fasting that could completely transform your life. If you've ever felt like your prayers are going unanswered, if your faith feels stagnant, stay with me until the end, because the 3rd secret might be the missing key that unlocks the supernatural in your life. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and declare your faith in the comments by writing, "God, I'm ready." This small act isn't just a click, it's a declaration. It tells heaven and earth that you are stepping into a deeper understanding of God's power. And if you're truly seeking a breakthrough, stay with me till the end, because secret number 3 might just change everything. Secret number 1, fasting in the Old Testament was more than just avoiding food. For many, fasting is nothing more than skipping meals, enduring hunger, and hoping for a blessing. But in the Old Testament, fasting went far beyond mere food deprivation. It was a cry of the soul, an act of total surrender to God, a desperate plea for divine intervention. Take Nineveh, for example. When Jonah delivered God's warning of destruction, something extraordinary happened. The entire city, from the king to the lowest servant, declared a fast. But it wasn't just the people. Even the animals were included. Imagine that. An entire city, including livestock, refusing to eat. Why? Because they knew this wasn't about food. It was about survival. It was about mercy. And God heard their cry. Fasting in the Old Testament wasn't just a religious tradition. It was an act of complete brokenness. People would cover themselves in sackcloth and ashes, a visible sign of their internal repentance. Daniel did it. Esther called for a national fast. Nehemiah fasted before rebuilding Jerusalem's walls. Every major breakthrough, every divine intervention was preceded by fasting. But here's where it gets interesting. Fasting was never meant to manipulate God. You can't trade hunger for blessings. Isaiah 58 makes it clear. If fasting isn't accompanied by a changed heart, it's worthless. So, let me ask you, when you fast, are you just depriving yourself of food, or are you seeking a transformation? Let me know in the comments. But we're only getting started. If fasting is about transformation, what does that really mean? That brings us to secret number 2. The true purpose of fasting is not suffering, it's transformation. How many times have you heard people say, "I'm fasting to get a breakthrough," or "I'm fasting so God will give me an answer"? There's nothing wrong with presenting requests to God, but fasting isn't a magic formula to get what you want. It's not a hunger strike to force God's hand. True fasting is about surrendering your will, aligning yourself with God, and breaking the chains that hold you back. Isaiah 58 reveals what true fasting looks like: to loose the chains of injustice, to set the oppressed free, to share your bread with the hungry. Think about that. Biblical fasting isn't just about personal devotion, it's about changing how you live. If fasting doesn't make you more compassionate, more just, more like Christ, then it's just a diet. Every powerful fast in the Bible had a purpose beyond the physical. Moses fasted before receiving the 10 Commandments. Nehemiah fasted before rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. Daniel fasted for understanding. Jesus fasted before launching his ministry. Do you see the pattern? Fasting is preparation. It's about shedding distractions, killing the flesh, and tuning your spirit to God's voice. That's why Jesus said that some demons can only be cast out through prayer and fasting. Some battles in your life won't be won by willpower alone. Some chains won't break with just another prayer. But fasting supercharges your faith. It strengthens your spirit. It demolishes strongholds. So let me ask you, when was the last time you fasted not for a request, but for transformation? Drop your answer in the comments. Now, if everything we've talked about so far has been eye-opening, just wait. Because the third secret is the one most Christians completely miss. Secret number 3. Jesus changed the meaning of fasting forever. In the Old Testament, fasting was often linked to mourning, repentance, and seeking answers in times of crisis. But when Jesus came, he flipped the script. He taught that fasting isn't about outward appearances, it's about intimate connection with the Father. In Matthew 6, Jesus warned against the hypocrisy of the Pharisees, who fasted to be seen by others. He said, "When you fast, do not look somber like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces to show others they are fasting." Instead, he told his followers to fast in secret, where only God could see. Why? Because fasting is personal. It's not about proving holiness. It's about deepening intimacy with God. Jesus also redefined when and why we fast. When asked why his disciples weren't fasting like John the Baptist's followers, he said, "Can the wedding guests fast while the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom is taken away, and then they will fast." Do you realize what he was saying? Jesus was the bridegroom. While he was on earth, his disciples had direct access to him. But after his ascension, fasting became an expression of longing for his presence, a way to draw closer to him spiritually. And Jesus didn't just teach about fasting, he demonstrated its power. Before beginning his ministry, he fasted for 40 days in the wilderness. The devil came at him with every temptation imaginable, but Jesus, strengthened by fasting and the Word, stood firm. If the Son of God needed fasting to prepare for his mission, how much more do we? So here's the truth. Fasting isn't about proving anything to God. It's about making room for him in your life. It's about shutting out the noise, breaking the chains of the flesh, and stepping into a deeper realm of spiritual authority. Now let me ask you, after hearing these 3 secrets, how will you approach fasting differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This next video is handpicked just for you. YouTube knows you'll love it. Or dive into this C.S. Lewis playlist for even deeper wisdom. And hey, don't leave without subscribing. Your journey has just begun. May God bless you, and I'll see you there.